Swerve, swerve, swerve. Now, Swerve, tell me you did not just say that. Now, it's been a kind of a back and forth for going on for a couple of months. And it started off with Swerve on the Breakfast Club. And I remember this story. I never did cover it. But I didn't think it would come back. And usually I don't like talking about racial situations because it's a very complex, it's very complex, it's very touchy, it's bound to offend someone. So you're be warned, strong language, strong offensive language, possibly, because I don't have a script. I'm just gonna say exactly how I feel about both parties. Being Swerve, Swerve, and Booker T, sucker. So, like I said, it started off in the Breakfast Club, and it was about the WWE. I guess being upset about a contract that, like, Swerve got a big contract, so he over exaggerated the market for guys that were kind of like not big stars, but they're getting these big contracts. So with his contract, it made a lot of other people ask for more money. I guess in that situation, I could be wrong, right? Maybe not saying all the right words, but like he basically said on the Breakfast Club, like they don't like it because I'm a black man getting money. Not verbatim, but that's what he said. And of course, you could sum that up as okay, he was in a certain environment, so he know what is presentable to that atmosphere, right? That's a black radio. That's a black radio show. So basically, let me say what I think they want to hear, right? But at the same time, I don't think that's probably the case, but some people will sum it up as that. But then at the same damn time, you know, but actually not at the same time, Booker T responded to that, like basically saying, I don't know if he had a personal situation and if he was treated a certain way or he felt like he should have been a much bigger star than what he was. But he basically said on the racial situation that like I was treated fairly. You know, I've been working for the company 20 plus years. You know, so they treated me well. So to sum that up, Swerve had a certain experience and a certain feeling about a thing. Booker T had a certain experience and certain feelings about a thing. Then let's fast forward, right? Swerve had an interview on Vlad TV, and you know Vlad is known for pretty much all these podcasts are known for conning you into saying certain things and trying to instigate certain stuff. And Vlad is known for that. Of course, he'll deny it. Typical, typical bullshit from these hunkies that do that, throw rocks and hide the hand type shit, smile in your face and really sharpen up the knife in the back. I'm not talking about all white people. I'm not talking about white people, by the way. White people and hunkies are totally different. So don't get offended if you're a white person. Hunkies, be offended. But anyway, Vlad is known for that. So he was basically talking about a situation. He was talking about what Booker T said, which is the situation of saying I was treated fair, but Swerve's like, well, Vince McMahon said nigga in front of you. I don't think that's being treated fair. He said in his opinion. Basically, you didn't take no action. You didn't stand up as a man, just with dignity, as a black man being degraded like that. And regardless if it's TV or not, it should be a level of where you shouldn't be able to go. And he didn't say that verbatim, but that's what he was basically alluding to. Like, you didn't, if you was treated fair, then how is that okay? How is that being treated fair? That they could just degrade you on live television, like just like that. You and your wife are standing there. Now, yes, Booker T is a businessman. Booker T is a company man. So Booker T probably had no fucking problem with it. And I can understand where Booker T's coming from and Swerve. So I'm going to tell you, both parties are not wrong. I'm just going to explain how I feel about both parties. Now, like I said, on Swerve's behalf, I can understand where he's coming from. TV or not, there's a certain line you got to be like, nah, bro, I'm not letting that shit slide. You're not going to just degrade me and disrespect me like that. To disrespect my whole race when you know that's a sensitive word that your people, your ancestors made up to keep us in a certain low vibration. They use those words when they was beating us and etc. Right? Not gonna go too deep in that. That's why I don't like talking about this type of shit because it's a lot to it. But then on Booker T's behalf, he's like basically like, bro, this is a movie. This is a make believe. Vince McMahon was doing nothing but to get heat. Vince McMahon was doing anything to make you hate him. You get what I'm saying? Vince made sure to make sure you hated his guts. Even though I feel like if that was the case, Booker T should have had a feud with Vince McMahon so he could get some revenge then. But that's neither here or there. You know, wrestling always blur the lines, right? You know, Booker T, your nappy heads and your suckers. That blurred the lines. Of course that offended a lot of people because it's like, okay, this may be a movie, and movies still offend people. It does. It's acting, but wrestling no different. It's theater, you know. It's live acting. It's soap opera, right? It's no different from a Medea show on stage. Literally, no different. It's stuntmen, actors, and you know, it's a circus. So to defend Booker T on that, I get where Booker T was coming from. Basically said when he said I was treated fairly. Booker T cares about the money, man. If you've seen any Booker T's podcast talking about it, he's like, man, I care about getting paid. If they pay me enough, cool. He don't give a shit about not being champion 8 times, none of that shit. That world championship he had as King Booker made him a rich man. You get what I'm saying? So he don't give a fuck about that type of shit. As a black fan, I care because I feel like Booker T should have been at least a good 4-time world champion. Because then I beg the question, how is Sheamus better than Booker T? Sheamus is a 4-time world champ. But Booker T was only a 1-time world champ? I'm just saying, as a black fan, as a mark, you can call me a mark, I don't mind it. But that's just my opinion on that. When you talk about that goes on with Swerve, because he was also said in that same clip where he was like, there's black talent that don't even get matches on PLEs. And of course you're going to have a lot of people, and of course you got the black content creators caping, you know, for massa, where they be like, all right, well, who's the black talent you can push? Well, I got one very easy, and I double dare you to argue me this. I'm always going to mention his name, Omos. You can't push a giant? There's not one reason why a giant can't be. There's no reason a giant is not at the world title spot automatically just because they're a giant. There's not one. There's not one reason, even if he's not at the world title spot, why he can't be in Braun Strowman's position, at least on television. There's not a reason why Omos is not around. Please give me one in the comments. Is he hurt? Is it something going on? It's obviously something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. And then Taker's podcast basically told Omos it's a patient waiting game. But I'm like, what are they waiting for? He wasn't even at the Royal Rumble this year. What was the excuse of that? If he was so-called, I guess if they was doing this special attraction thing, he's not at the Rumble. A giant, he's bigger than everyone in the company, literally. Braun Strowman looks up to him. You don't know how to make money with a giant. MVP tweeted that. If you don't know how to make money with a giant, you're an idiot. That's a fact. Vince McMahon used him. Vince McMahon knew what to do with him, but you don't. And you've been behind the curtain. You've been jerking politics for years. You know how this shit works. You telling me you don't know how to use a big guy, a giant, right? So for all the black content creators that why we're talking about race and, oh, there's no black guys you can push to the main event. Omos, give him a mouthpiece. That's it. You don't have to do a lot. He's a giant. He speaks for himself. And if you such a mark to really believe a giant has to be great in the ring, you are a complete fucking idiot. So you'd mean to tell me a giant need to be doing suicide dives? A giant? Come on, bro. That makes no fucking sense. So that clears that up for all the people that says that. Where's all the black talent that's made event? You can push Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. After they lose the tag team titles, you can break them up. They don't have to go against each other. Put one in SmackDown, keep one in SmackDown, put one in Raw, give them singles runs. Everybody's caping for Montez Ford anyway. You can make him an upper mid-carder guy. But what Swerve said is facts. When the last time, hell, where's the top black guy at all in WWE? All right, then. So you got black content creators, which irritate me the most. These Sambos instantly, Triple H isn't racist. WWE isn't racist. If you've been watching wrestling the last 20 plus years, how can you honestly say that? I can see if you just started 5 years ago. But if you've been watching as long as I have, you've been watching the Ruthless Aggression era, you probably even watched the Attitude era, there's no fucking way you're going to sit here and tell me wrestling hasn't been racist as fuck for years. You've been blind, bro. You just don't want to see what's a fact. They've been treating black talent, black male talent. See, everybody want to run to, oh, well, what about Jade Cargill? What about Bianca? What about Naomi? Guess what, bro? Why can't we stick to one subject? Black male talent. Name me a black male talent since The Rock that actually had mega success. Since The Rock had a Royal Rumble win. Since The Rock had more than 2 world titles. Maybe Lashley. We don't count the ECW championships. I count them. So that's 4 ECW. That's 4 world titles. But are we going to keep it real? The ECW title was presented as a third brand, third wheel. It was NXT before they turned it to NXT. So we gonna lie about that? The ECW title lost all that credibility of what ECW was at the time, right? Even though, to be fair, ECW was always a small promotional niche company anyway, right? So it never will reach the prestige of a WWE title. So let's just keep it real on that, to be fair. But it still counts as a world title. So fine, Lashley has 4 world titles in total. 2 WWE titles, 2 ECW titles. But Lashley was never a Royal Rumble winner. Lashley did not have a year run. No black man, and we're talking about black Americans, if we're going to be technical, since The Rock is, half Samoan and black. So if we're going to be technical, a black American, Lashley, Kofi, those guys, we never had a black champion that was ever the centerpiece when they were champions, right? They were never the main attraction. They never took over the company. Where it's back-to-back championships, it was always token wins. I don't care what you think of Kofi, because my thing was this: why you didn't evolve Kofi after all that? Kofi Mania, it was emotionally driven, but you couldn't make Kofi evolve his character to be more serious. Kofi never got a rematch, but Randy Orton get 1,000 of them. John Cena get 1,000 of them. Anybody else would have possibly got a rematch, but Kofi couldn't get a rematch. Kofi couldn't change his character to be like, I lost to Brock Lesnar. You couldn't make that a story where I lost to Brock Lesnar in 8 seconds. I'm training hard to fight Brock Lesnar again. That would have been a very interesting story. Rey Mysterio was the smallest man. He would have got a rematch, but Kofi Kingston couldn't have. All right. So all those people that cape very fast, oh, who's the black talent that you could push? There's plenty of them. I'm not hearing that shit. If you push somebody, all you gotta do is push them. They're gonna sink or swim. Kofi has been doing some of the best work in the last couple of years. Mic work has been way better, etc. He's established, but Kofi's nowhere near the world title picture. Why not? Why can't he be? How is you telling me Jey Uso's way better than Kofi because of a fucking catchphrase? All right. I know I got off the rails, but I just had to go on Swerve's side. Basically what Swerve was basically saying. And I'm just saying, I can't sit here and deny as a black fan that it hasn't been racial tendencies for years in the WWE and wrestling in general. It's funny how you could say, well, they pushed Khali or they pushed Jinder Mahal because they wanted the Indian market. They pushed Alberto Del Rio because they wanted the Latino market. So basically, you're saying it without saying it. They pushed him because he's Latino. They pushed him because he's Indian. So, you can't push blacks because they're blacks, though. Oh, so when it comes to the black market, everybody gets uncomfortable and put up shields because we got to find every defense why black male talent can't be one of the faces of the company. 25 years ago is the last time we had a black Royal Rumble winner. How do you excuse that? Look at Lashley. You telling me he's not believable to win a Royal Rumble? Okay. But then we get on Booker T's response. And Booker T was absolutely right on this. where he said he turned down Vlad 2 different times because Vlad is known for throwing rocks, typical hunky shit, throwing rocks high in your hands and finding ways to manipulate us against each other, right? And a lot of us never catch on to it that go on these Vlad interviews. He set it up and see what your response is. And Booker T knew better. He knew better. And he's right. Swerve had no business being on Vlad TV. Because there's always some situation where Vlad finds a way to turn you against your people. It's always dramatic. All these podcasters are making money off of drama. That's just what it is most of the time. And Vlad, I'm sure, knew that was going to spark something. He knew that. He knew what he's doing. So yes, I agree with Booker T on that too. You should have never been on Vlad. But it's a good look for Swerve because, hell, what else you going to do to become mainstream? Vlad is a mainstream platform. But you got to be careful if you're going to go there. But like I said, though, I agree with Booker T. There's a certain standard. There's a certain level. There's certain stuff you got to watch out for. And Vlad is one of them. He's notoriously known for that, right? And like I said, most of these podcasts are notoriously known for triggering you. Triggering you. Even though a lot of people saying, oh, Swerve disrespected Booker T, I don't think he disrespected Booker T. I don't think he didn't say anything crazy. He didn't say Booker T was a coon. He didn't say none of that. He just felt like why you didn't step forward towards that, right? But then Booker T's response basically like, listen, man, this is business. That's what I said. Neither parties are wrong. That's why I said that. I'm not agreeing with him or agreeing with him. I agree with both because I see it from both angles. I told you, I'm Bill Alfonso. I'm down the middle on nobody's side. I see it from both angles because as a black man myself, of course I see how Swerve see it, and I see how Booker T see it. Yes. So Booker T was basically saying, what, you wanted me to be the angry black man and go off and do what's expected of me? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So neither sides are wrong, and I guess neither side is right at the end of the day that much, right? Take it how you want to take it. But I feel like hopefully, and I don't think it is a possible beef, but Booker T seemed very pissed off. He did give Swerve a lot of praise when he won the world title and all that. And Swerve is young. Swerve probably, obviously to see the manipulation tactic of Vlad, of what he does. So, of course, Vlad would deny it. And that's just how you sum that up. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but I'm sure they would, chop it up. I'm sure they probably already have chopped it up, whatever the case may be. But hopefully we don't have to go back to this type of topic and subject anymore. These types of subjects are always touchy, and it's bound to offend somebody. Whatever I say, if it offended you, oh well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to say what the hell I want to say. If YouTube kicked me off, it is what it is, man. Nobody's going to stop my authenticness of how I genuinely feel. I'm not reading a script. I'm just going to say it out of the heart, out of the brain, and out of my mouth. That's simple. So, it depends what you think. Was Swerve right? Was Booker T right? Like I said, I don't see either side as really wrong, to be honest. Because, like I said, I see it from both spectrums. Like, share, subscribe, dislike all the good shit. We are out.